guys, Dr. Pyramid there, and today, as you may have noticed in some other videos of mine, I rarely talk about limited units. And why is that? Well, it's simple. This channel is mostly centered around helping new players get into IS, and as a new player, you usually don't have any limited units. However, I figured it would be a good idea to make a top 5 old limited units that new players should try and spark or get in banners where they are featured. So there will be 5 units, but I also make some honorable mentions because there are actually so many good limited units that I truly believe only listing 5 of them is not enough. Small disclaimer, this list is about operators you can get, so that means collab operators like Wis'adel Alter or Ella won't be featured in this video. That doesn't mean they are bad, on the contrary, if they ever get a rerun, Wis'adel Alter and Ella absolutely deserve their place in this video actually, but since they have a pretty low chance of getting rerun, then they won't be there. But if you're a new player and somehow they decide to rerun them, absolutely aim for them. So let's start. Number 5. Ling. Ling is a really odd case because she's basically a one-woman army. She's a summoner, so you probably don't want to recruit her in every run in IS, and this is, by the way, the reason why she's only 5th in this list. But when you recruit her and you have the right relics, she's absolutely broken. You can make it so that her summons have more attack, more HP, so that her summons don't take any deployment slot. You can have ranged summons or melee summons depending on what you need. She's an extremely powerful start if you pick her at E2, and even if you recruit her in the mid game, she can still be very powerful depending on the relics you have. The only downside is that she needs a really high investment. Summoners are among the units that need the most investments because the summons scale with how high the level of the summoner is. So you want everything. You want the masteries, you want the levels, you want the module, everything. So if you want to try and get her, good luck. She's absolutely worth it. Number 4. Shu. Initially, I didn't want to put Shu in this list, and admittedly, if you have Saria, she shouldn't even be in this list at all. However, if you don't have her, she absolutely deserves the spot of 4th place. Shu can do a lot of things in IS. She can tank, she can heal, she can prevent enemies from going into the blue box, which is particularly useful against some bosses, most notably Aafella. Even after her skill ends, she still continues to heal allies, and in a wide range at that. In a lot of cases, she can be your sole healer for the whole run if you don't want to recruit a medic, quote-unquote, and you instead want a defender. You probably don't want to recruit her in the early game, right? Because in the early game, I feel like defenders that are able to deal damage, like Horn or like Jessica Alter, are much better. But when you approach the mid to late game and you absolutely want some form of healing, then she's absolutely a consideration no matter what. Number 3. Aafella Alter. Aafella Alter is the most powerful healer in the game, period. If you want to fight a boss that has a high amount of damage, and you definitely want, well, a high amount of heal to counter that, for example the Last Knight, or for example Crescent, then Aafella Alter is the default medic choice in 99% of cases. She has an enormous healing output with S3, she has a very good use and forget skill with S1, and also weirdly enough, she doesn't need masteries or module that much, because she's perfectly viable as she is. Oh, and also, of course, she removes elemental damage. Sure, why not? So yes, if you're only playing with Mulberry, Honeyberry, or Harold for some reason, then Aafella Alter is basically those units, but times 10. Alright, so far I haven't mentioned a lot of DPS units, so this is gonna change with number 2. Texas Alter. A lot of people describe Texas Alter as the first unit that forever changed the meta, and that's basically true because Texas Alter is absolutely gross in terms of what she can do. She can stun in AoE, she can use her skill twice in a row for more damage, her S2 has basically the same amount of damage as Surtur, except with less range but with 4 times less deployment time. She's a very versatile unit that can be used both for utility and damage. She has a lot of synergies in IS, for example with Execution, No Man's Land, Lone Force, all these kind of stuffs. Also, she's already a really good unit at E1, so it's not like she's gonna be a sitting duck if you just recruited her. On top of that, the guaranteed stuns on all instances of damage on S3 is a ridiculously powerful tool for IS3 where there's a lot of hovering units. So yeah, Texas Alter absolutely deserves 2nd place. Alright, before going to the honorable mentions, I just want to mention 2 other units that do not belong either to the list list, nor to the honorable mentions. These are Dusk and roSmontis. Dusk and roSmontis are currently, and I want to put the emphasis on currently, not very good in IS, nor in the base game either. However, in the future they will get an alpha module, and alpha modules are modules that are designed specifically for IS. I haven't tested them myself since I don't play the Chinese version. However, usually since these are specifically designed for IS, they are very powerful. So I expect Dusk and roSmontis to be much better than they used to be. So if they spook them in your pools, don't be sad, they might get a second life real soon. Honorable mentions. So these will be in whatever order. Number 1 honorable mention. Molsis. Molsis is, in my opinion, the second most powerful Vanguard in the game. She's not even a Vanguard, pretty much. She's more like a range unit that can deal mixed damage, benefits from a lot of tools in IS. For example, Foul Beast has a lot of flexibility, and on top of that, she can also generate DP because why not? I don't think she deserves her place in the top 5 because in the end, she's a Vanguard, you're gonna want to recruit Ines before her. However, if you don't have Ines and you have the opportunity to aim for Molsis, absolutely do that as a new player in my opinion. Second honorable mention. Virtuosa. Virtuosa is an odd case because in the late game she's not very good at all. However, in the early game we are dealing 12k elemental damage, basically one-shots any enemy unit, then she's absolutely broken. The thing is, as a supporter that deals damage, she actually has some competition, most notably with Gnosis, and Gnosis is more useful in the late game too. Still, Virtuosa has some new tools to work with in IS-5 most notably, and one thing I want to mention is that if you have Nymph, then Virtuosa actually deserves probably 3rd place in this list because they work really well together. Third honorable mention, Chen Alter. Chen Alter used to be called Balance simply because she was absolutely ridiculous. Oddly enough, in IS, she's not that broken because the flat defense ignore is actually much less powerful than percentage defense ignore. The higher the ascension you go, the higher the defense of enemies is, and so percentage defense ignore is gonna get more and more powerful, while flat defense ignore is gonna be less and less powerful. And also, as a sniper, she has been topped by a lot of other snipers in the meantime, most notably Typhon, Ray, and Wis'adel. Oh, by the way, speaking of Wis'adel, number 1. Wis'adel. I think I would need an entire video just to list everything Wis'adel can do, but just to sum up everything, she can deal high physical damage, high arts damage, all of this in a very large area, with a very wide range. She's almost invincible, she has 1 billion synergies, she can stun too, just like Texas Alter. If you're a new player and you just want a quote-unquote easy mode for IS, and even Arknights in general, then this is absolutely the unit you should be aiming for. I don't think there is a single video in Arknights that evaluate operators that doesn't have Wis'adel at number 1, whatever the game mode, whatever the context. So yeah, number 1, absolutely Wis'adel, and she's gonna be there for a while, I think. So this was it, guys. This was my top 5 pass limited units you should be aiming for as a new player for IS. Leave a like, subscribe, and see you in the next video.